Welcome back to Grandmaster Birthdays and a happy birthday to Victor Ciocâltea, a Romanian legend. Now, this story takes place in the 1962 Varna Olympiad, a really remarkable Olympiad. Last time Botvinnik played for the first board for the Soviet Union, the only game Fischer played against Botvinnik. A lot of remarkable achievements, games. You know, for Romania it was a pretty good Olympiad. Now I'm gonna quickly show you the way that this Olympiad is structured. The teams are put into groups, and then the top three of the group goes and plays in the final A, and then the next three go and play in the final B, and then the rest go and play into a final C. And Romania was in the top three, and they were in the group with the United States. And Ciocâltea, being on the first board for Romania, he played Fischer. So he played Fischer in the groups, and this is their match from the groups. Now Fischer has the white pieces, and you know, he's gonna play just a normal Rui Lopez. I know I simply forgot the name. And here you're right, this is the classical example of the closed position. You can see how, well, this knight is not really doing a lot, and you know, both pieces of both players are quite passive right now, especially Fischer's pieces. And we have bishop to e7 now, just making room for castles, and g3, just stopping everything from this knight moving. We have castles, a very natural move, and now h4. This h4 move is such a snake move by Fischer. Why? Because the only move now, and I don't know if he knew this prior to this game, the only move in this position is bishop d8, and you're gonna see why in a second. Bishop d8 basically stops every single threat, and after this move makes room for the knight to come back. Now, well, after h4, Ciocâltea played, you know, a seemingly normal looking move, looking for c5, and here Fischer just detonated bishop g5, and this is just I mean, look at this. The pawns are taking these squares away, and after pawn takes, you have no place for your queen. So you know, Ciocâltea tried a little bit, but you're not beating any competent grandmasters down two pieces for the queen, and especially not Fischer. So that happened in the groups, and now they met once again in the final because both teams advanced to the final A. And I don't know if Fischer underestimated Ciocâltea, or I don't want to say, because I don't know, and there are no accounts of such things happening. We don't know the players' thoughts. We rarely know it, but you know, they just played this game. Now this game is really complicated, and first of all, it's complicated because you have this kind of closed center structure, so you're gonna have to move around it, and once you're gonna move around it, once you're gonna break something, it's just gonna be fireworks. It's gonna be completely crazy. And I say that because c3 is played, right, looking for d4, and now knight g to e7, obviously preparing f5. That's the classical move that Black wants to play. Knight h4, now this is obviously not stopping f5, but it's preparing f4 of your own, and that's exactly how the game goes. E takes, and now it's really important to take with the g pawn and not with the bishop. Why? Well, if you take with the bishop, now d5 for instance, and you kind of if you, oops, that's not good. If you try to like take, now knight takes d5, and this is weak, and if you go back, now you're really passive and you don't really want to do this. So that therefore you want to take with the g pawn, and now Fischer actually goes f5. Which is a move that later has been also played later, I think mainly because this game is you know, an inspiration. Knight d2, king h8 now, by Fischer kind of getting out of any checks. But Ciocâltea is really fine. Knight d2 f3, and Fischer tries to detonate things a little bit and trades queens. But actually this middle game is better for white. White has to just play this really nice move, knight g5 now. The bishop attacks the knight here, and the bishop and the rook are defending the pawn, so the knight and the rook are basically stopped. So the knight is forced to go back. Now bishop e3 attacks this pawn, knight e4 defends it, and now really nice move by Ciocâltea, rook e1, and this pawn suddenly becomes poisoned. Bishop takes on c5, and now there's no square for your rook. The rook takes away this. The knight, by virtue of a fork, doesn't allow you to go with the rook here, and you cannot obviously play rook to g8 because you're getting checkmated. Therefore, Fischer had to stop and play bishop d7 to disallow this rook e8 move. But Ciocâltea just slides back with the bishop, and now everything is just fine for white. White managed to get his rook out while sliding the bishop back in, so he won a move. And this move, is obviously really important. Any time that you win time in chess, you're better. And Fischer attempts this bishop f5 normal looking maneuver, but now just knight to e5, and Ciocâltea is really coming for Fischer in this position. Like you can see, the knights are ready to go, and Fischer plays knight e7, a move that might have cost him. I mean, Ciocâltea plays a really good move, knight e4, but there would have been like more aggressive idea to go check here, and if king g7, if king g7, let's say you have this nice move knight d6, now threatening to take the bishop and then deliver this check, and if king h8 back, well, now you just advanced your knight in here for free. You can play a really interesting idea, rook f2, and like let's say h6, you try to kick out the knight into e6. Now let's say bishop takes, rook takes, and now you're gonna double up the rooks. And Ciocâltea definitely has an arsenal of options here, but he chooses knight e4, which is a perfectly good move, and Fischer tries to come out swinging, but Ciocâltea obviously dodges, and now Fischer is stuck defending this pawn. So Ciocâltea can simply advance knight d6, rook c7, defending the b7 pawn, but now just a really nice maneuver. The knight goes to b5, and now you win this pawn, and you have to defend your knight. You have to play c4, and now a pretty interesting dance. Knight b6, knight comes back to c3. Again, this pawn is defended, and with your knight you want to defend the a pawn. Knight comes back, knight goes back, knight comes back. And now Ciocâltea finally kind of arranged his pieces in the right way, so Fischer doesn't have anything to do other than put his bishop back. And I think Fischer would have been okay with the repetition of moves, but definitely Ciocâltea is a fighter and will not give up, especially for the chance of getting a revenge, especially on Fischer. Knight e4 now back, but now knight to b5 back, and now knight goes back, but Ciocâltea comes back knight c3. And this time it's all different. It's all different, because if you try this move now I don't care about knight b5. Now I go knight e4. Now I go knight e4 because right, you want to trade with me, I don't, and now, well, you have to play bishop h4 again, but this time I go rook e3. And yeah, I'm just having a better position. I don't know how to explain it better than this. Like, white simply has better position. You have everything in this position. You have an extra pawn and the compensation for it. So Ciocâltea finds a really nice configuration and a nice way to get out of this not so nice position. And now Fischer attempts knight to c6, but Ciocâltea obviously does not allow any other trades or any other activations here by the knight, simply chops it off instantly. And b3, and now the knight here is rendered useless. This is defended, the bishop is stopped by this knight. You just, again, you have a really nice position. You try to take that away from me. Oh, cool, knight a4, and now knight takes, f takes. Okay, bishop h4, rook f1, king g7, but now rook goes to d6. I attack your pawn here. Okay, you wanna come play with me? I'm fine with that. Bishop e3, and now both of your pawns are gonna be falling. But Fischer did calculate something here. And in fact, he was right. So he went for this. Now you're threatening checkmate, so the rook has to come back. And you go rook to f5. Now you're attacking this pawn. But obviously knight takes c5 is still possible. And Fischer here cannot take the pawn because of this spin, and he would lose the rook. So rook f3 first, bishop goes anyway to d4, and now rook f4. Check, and now the king moves. And Ciocâltea is up to pawns, yes, but his king is so weak, and there is also a threat of checkmate, that you have to give this check, go back with the bishop, give up 2 pawns back, but you're gonna win. You're gonna win another pawn here, and Ciocâltea does. And now we have this following position. I just had to take a step back in real life and look at it. This is fundamentally a draw. Like, this is drawable, and it's most likely gonna be a draw. But white definitely has some chances to win this game, as this knight is positioned quite perfectly here, taking away key squares and also defending this pawn while being on a dark square while the king is cut off. So white's position is really you know, having some prospects here, and you have this easy pawn push here, because you know, black, by the time that he slides back, you're already gonna be at least on a6. But Fischer here starts with the right idea, but here it kind of goes wrong. Now this is a losing move after a5. Now there's still some sort of a chance here. The computer argues that after rook e1 you might be able to come in behind, and I don't know if you remember, but Nakamura played a similar endgame against Rajabov, and he managed to win that one in the candidates. So will this happen this time? I think yes, because Fischer here makes the final mistake. He goes g5, and now a6, and the pawn is unstoppable, right? The pawn is unstoppable. Here comes the second pawn. There's some checking going on here, but white just arrived, and here Ciocâltea plays a really classy move. Rook takes on g2, and right, I mean, there's nothing here. If bishop e4 would have been possible, then yes, I mean, this would have been a draw, but it's not, because the knight covers that square quite nicely. So yeah, a really nice game by Victor Ciocâltea, a really nice revenge story, and also you know, just this game by itself is also really nice. So happy birthday to Victor Ciocâltea once again, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Woo! Kowalsky out.